Hello, we're going to be talking today about financial freedom. In our last session, we talked about eliminating debt and how that 1/3 of the money that we make goes into paying interest. We're actually going to take the debt, turn it upside down, and use it to create wealth. The first thing we want to take a look at is a fellow here who was getting ready to buy a new house. He was going to pay cash for it, but as he looked at the house, it needed some remodeling. So he's going to take $50,000 and keep it out to do the remodeling. So that meant he had a 30-year mortgage, and on a 30-year mortgage, he would have a payment of $268 at 5%. So he'd be paying back $46,000 in interest. Now let's take a look at that and what happens if he'd take the $50,000 and put it into the bank at 5% interest. He would have earned $173,000 in that 30 years. And he'd still have his $50,000 that he originally started with. So he'd have $223,000 additional income. How can you pay 5% interest and end up paying back almost as much as you borrowed? That to me is 100% interest. The 5% is APR, that's annual percentage rate. That's the interest that you pay that year for that amount of money. Next year you owe less, so it goes down, down, and down as you see here in the chart. I can hear some of you out there now saying, well, that's great if I had $50,000 I could put in the bank and let it grow like that. You don't have $50,000 in the bank because you haven't planned for it. Now let's talk about that. Remember our last lesson when we talked about how to eliminate debt? Well, we're going to take now some of that debt that we've been eliminating and we're going to put it to work. We're going to be taking a look now at how to grow your universal account to an unlimited basis. And we do that with simple things that you use and buy all the time. What is one thing that almost every one of us buy every 4 or 5 years? A car. Okay, you got it. We're going to take a look at what a car purchase can do for us and how that works. And the reason we want to use a car is because it'll help us understand what happens when we do this. First of all, we need to take a look at how many different ways can you buy a car. The first thing you can do is you can lease one. Businesses like to lease them because they take the money off their taxes. During your lifetime, you will buy about 11 new cars. If you lease the car, you will have only lost $400,000 because that money is gone, the cars are gone, and you may have 1 or 2 left. If you finance the car through the bank or through the car company, you will have lost $276,000 on money that you spent buying cars. A lot of people say, well, I'm paying cash for my cars. Well, you're only going to be out $232,000. Now, let's take a look at this if there's a better way of doing that. That is, you take and pay for the first car yourself. You pay for it in advance, you make the payments, and you let that money grow. You use your Financial Freedom Universal account to do this. And if you do it that way, let's take a look at what happens. You will gain $504,000 at the end of those 11 cars. So you can be out $400,000, $272,000, or you can gain $500,000. Now that's just for one car. Imagine if you did this with 2 cars. Now let's take a look at how compound interest works and how this affects us. For this example, we're going to take and put together an annual contribution of $5,000 with a rate of return of 5% over 30 years. We're going to plan on draining this tank 5 times with a 4-year refill. In 4 years, we'll have $20,000 in that account, so we're going to take the money and we're going to borrow against the account, not take it out. Now, there's a good reason for it, and I'll show it to you in a minute. So we borrow out $20,000, we make our trade, and we're going to allow $20,000 every 4 years for this new car. Now, I want you to notice here that what we do is we pay it back $5,000 in our annual contribution. We keep making our contribution, but I want you to notice the green line. The green is growing because our original account is still there. We've just borrowed against it. In 4 years, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to borrow $20,000 out of our account, pay ourselves back the payment, and in 4 years later, we're going to do it again. We're going to borrow $20,000 out, buy a new car, make the payments back to our account, and do it again. And in 4 years later, we're going to do it again. We're going to borrow $20,000 out, buy a new car, make the payments back to our account, and do it again. Eventually, you're going to get to a place where you say, I want to start living on that money. I don't have to pay it back. And remember, because this is borrowed money, it's tax-free. And what's left at the end goes to your children tax-free. What are some of the things that you can use to grow this account? It can be anything that you pay cash with. Okay, we've talked about cars, we talked about trucks. It can be paying off your credit cards. It can be using insurance. It can be using taxes, building depreciation. Universal account is used as collateral for your loans. So when you borrow money out, as you can see, it just keeps growing, growing, and growing. The one thing you want to be sure and do is to pay back your loan. Sometimes people rob from themselves. If you were offered $1 million retirement account, would you steal from yourself? No, you wouldn't. Well, you surely don't want to do that here. You want to pay back the loans. You want to pay them back with interest. And be generous because you're getting it to yourself. And as you've eliminated all of your debt by now, you see that what you have is financial future and financial freedom. Let's take a look at how banks earn money. What banks do is they turn liabilities into assets. They pay depositors interest, sometimes anywhere from 0 to 2% on their CDs, their savings accounts, and their checking accounts. Then they take that and they loan it out for 4 to 29%. And many times it's to the same people that they're paying interest to. And then they keep creating velocity. They keep turning the money. Every time you make a payment on a loan, they've got more money to lend out. Look at what happens when you own your own universal account. You're going to earn triple compound interest. You say, what? How can I do that? Well, first of all, you're going to earn interest on the principal that you paid into your universal account. You're going to earn money on that interest that you would have paid to the other banks. And you're going to earn interest on that interest. In order to do that, we need to know what smart money is and how to use it. So we're going to talk about what kind of an account to set up to achieve your goals. Here is a list of the various kinds of accounts that you could use, and we're going to be talking about the last one, the Financial Freedom Universal Account. And as we do, we want you to compare it to every other choice that you see here and what it has to offer. You say, well, why are we starting with the least amount? Because it's got to be something that you can see that you really want. We're going to show you how you can double it, triple it, even quadruple it. What is one thing that people want with their money? They want it to be safe. That's why a lot of people choose to put their money in CDs, because they can get to it, but it doesn't have a lot of growth. So where is that going to go as a future event? The number that I hear the most from people is $1 million. Let's take a look at the universal account and see what kind of protection you have here. Number one, your money will never decrease in value. 2, your payments will never increase. You'll be protected from creditors. You'll have tax-free savings and a tax-free retirement. The biggest benefit that I see of this is that it's a protected account. If you start another type of retirement account and you choose to put in a contribution of $5,000 a year and you put that in there for 2 years and something happens and you die, wives, what do you have? You have $10,000. Your universal account is protected because should you die, whether it's a month later after you start it or 2 years later or 10 years later, it's protected for $1 million. That means that's what you would receive should your husband pass away. Now, the problem we have with that is that you have to die to receive the benefit. But you know what? The peace of mind comes from knowing that your family's taken care of, your wife, your kids aren't going to have to worry. Well, I've got some great news for you because your universal account comes with living benefits also. Should you develop cancer or have a heart attack or terminal illness, at no additional cost, these living benefits are covered, which is a benefit to you, to your family. And I would recommend one other, and that's an add-on benefit of disability. Should you become disabled for more than 90 days, your retirement account, the contributions are going to be continually made for you. What's involved when you need to borrow money? It's really simple. You pick up the phone, tell them how much you need, they cut you a check. No qualifying, no lines, no worrying if you're going to get approved because it's your money. You're in control. The next thing I want to talk about is what happens when you own your own universal account and you want to borrow money from it. It's your money. You can borrow it whenever and however you want. All they want to know is, how would you like it? Would you like your money taxable, tax deferred, or tax free? You'll probably say, well, tax free. Well, okay, that's the way it is. And when you're ready to retire, remember, this money is tax free, not taxable, not tax deferred. And not only is it tax free to you, but you can leave it to your dependents tax free because it comes in the form of life insurance to them. You can purchase $1 million in assets at a fraction of the cost, manage those assets to double, quadruple, or even create more accounts for yourself and your family. You're probably saying by now, what's the catch? I don't get it. What's the requirements? You know, if you were to go to any one of our thousands of offices across America and you ask them these questions, they would all tell you the same thing. Yes, we can do that. You may be asking yourself, where do I go from here? What's next? What's next? Get back with the person that gave you this information. Tell them you'd like to have a free universal analysis, a free retirement report, including a free fact finder with their no cost, no obligation, and find out the facts.